I'm going to tell you why you don't need to stress as much as you think about food in order to get that physique. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying for a second not to put a lot of focus into the food that you're consuming, but I'll explain what I mean now and what mindset to have instead. There are a load of people, some of which I've met before they start coaching, who relate to food with the word diet, and this can actually be a disadvantage. The reason for this is you're already putting a negative connotation to what you're putting inside your body as if it's a tough task or chore to get yourself through every day, when in reality you're just making it a resentment act, which in the short term might work a little bit but doesn't fucking work in the long term. The thing is, when you see the word sustainable, although it gets thrown around a lot, it is extremely true. You should never start a diet that you couldn't do for years, otherwise it'll fail. Now, having said that, I'm not totally against, aggressive cuts from time to time depending on the context and the knowledge of the individual, but that's a topic for another day. I don't coach people who want to do a photo shoot or a bodybuilding show, let me get that very clear, but if you're someone who wants to improve their lifestyle, look better, feel healthier, and have a better relationship with food, here's what I would do. I wouldn't track food 24/7 years on end, which might be different to what you've heard before, but I would have periods where I track more accurately just to make sure progress is happening, but also for your own calorie awareness. The reason I don't say 24/7, because ultimately you do want to get to a point where you're able to eat intuitively and do it often. This is to make life more enjoyable, but as I said, you need to go through periods where you are tracking more efficiently so that when you do intuitively eat, you're less stressed and you can do it without causing significant regression. I tracked for years when I was younger, so now I don't need to track and I will still reach the goal that I want to get to. The reason for this is because I can estimate off my own eyes and also based on my scale weight every morning, which is my next point. So do track your scale weight every day if you can, as long as you don't have an emotional attachment to it, because it is just a number and it's the weekly average that counts, particularly if you're trying to lose body fat. That's just a side note, okay? But in terms of the food itself, you want to be focusing the most on your protein goal, your calorie goal, and keeping hydrated. The quality of food does matter. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. However, you do not need to eat the same thing every day, all day, without any luxuries ever. And that's where people go wrong. They think extreme deprivation is the only real answer to getting the results that you want, when it's really not at all. Think about what you could do for years on end. I will emphasize this point again. For me, that does mean, yes, eating good food 80 to 85% of the time, but it also means having a takeaway with the boys in moderation, not feeling guilty for the odd drink, having a fucking slice of cake on my sister's birthday, etc. By the way, if you could subscribe to the channel, it would be really appreciated. But I hope this is helpful if you felt kind of stuck in a rut with nutrition in recent times, because man, it is not easy, of course, but it is simple. You need to remember that. I think what people struggle with most is probably not having that accountability, which is fair enough. But if you focus on a few key principles and fundamentals, like I've mentioned in this video, you will be sweet. And if you want more help with that, I'm happy to assist. Just give me a message on Instagram, TPM Coaching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.